8:30, 9:30. Let's keep up that. Fantastic. Let's talk about a couple of things. You have in front of you some first day sheets to fill out. At the end of class, I'm just gonna ask you to bring them up here, or if you identify your fellow when you're filling out that sheet, then you can give it to them. So one of the ways that you can see what section you're in, this is section 30, the big class, but the section you're in for your labs, that's the question we're asking, is going to be on 1. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but you do have labs on Fridays, and they are mandatory, okay? So this is me. This is me. I'm Dr. Melody Rowlet. I have a PhD in political science. I tested in 3 fields, American, comparative, and international relations, about 1,000 years ago. And I also have a law degree as well. So that's the thing that I also know how to do. I occasionally practice. And I've been teaching at the university level for more than 2 decades, which is a lot of decades, right? I think the University of Oklahoma is the happiest place on earth. If you don't, well, then we're going to have to work on that. Okay. Disney has nothing on us. Really. I mean, there was free breakfast breakfast this morning, right? I mean, come on. Does Disney offer you free breakfast breakfast? No, never. All right. So that's me. Prior Oklahoma, Chancellor of the University. Some of you know prior to your others of you don't. You're like, how have I missed this cultural center? I did it. How many of you, by the way, are super excited to be here today in this class? Raise your hand.
Woo!
1, 2, 3, 6. All right. 6 out of 250. Excellent. How many of you are here in this class today because you have to have it in order to get a degree from the University of Oklahoma? Okay. Most of the time I'm going to be talking to you, right? Because this class was created by the Oklahoma State Legislature in the 1970s. We're only one of 7 states that require that if you get a degree from a state university, that you take the class in American federal government. We're only 7. And part of that comes back to what our mission as a university is. This is our motto. Civic et Republicae. For the benefit of the citizen and the state. It's the entire purpose of the University of Oklahoma. To benefit citizens and the state of Oklahoma. And as part of that, that means that my job is to make sure you are citizens. Because citizens mean what? That you participate in the political process, that you're not a subject, but you're a part of governing. It's a different thing. In your labs on Fridays, one of the things you're going to learn how to do are those mechanical things. Like, how do I find out who my representative is? Who do I contact if this is a problem? How do you register to vote? How do you actually vote? Because people don't participate for those very reasons. Oklahoma has the lowest voting participation of any state, number 50. Okay, number 50. Just a little over half of the people in the state vote. And even fewer participate or are aware of the political process. This is a fate I am saving you, right? Citizenship means that you will know how to be an active partner in your own self-governance. So in terms of democracy, that's going to be our theme really of this class. In terms of democracy, there's some real positives, right? We have stable institutions in the United States. We have a pretty high tolerance of difference. We value civic duty. We protect protest. And we have very free speech. Actually, that's something where we do really, really well. Probably the freest speech in the world. Peaceful transitions of power, except for one. Which brings us to some of the negatives. Government is unresponsive. Over the last 20 years, studies have shown that if the majority of people want government to pass certain policies, it does not have an impact on whether they will pass those policies. However, if you're very wealthy and you want the government to pass policies, those policies are passed. Doesn't sound like democracy to me. We have high levels of racial tension. This is something that ebbs and flows, waxes and wanes. We're in a particular time of heightened tensions in the United States, but we've had racism from our inception. There's no question about that. And it continues to burden our ability to be a democratic republic. Public distrust of institutions. Whenever I was a child, way back in the dark ages, they asked polling, so they did have polling, so it was quite dark ages, of how people trusted their institutions, whether they trusted Congress, or the courts, or the president, or the police, the intelligence community, the media. And more than half the people trusted. Some at very high levels, those institutions. Today, the most trusted of those institutions is the intelligence community. And it ranks something like 40% of people trust it. That's a lot of distrust, right? It indicates that maybe there's some problems. We also have increasing poverty. Since the 1980s, the middle class has shrunk in the United States. Greater numbers of people are falling into poverty. And wealth is concentrated in the hands of fewer and fewer people. This is a problem for democracy. We'll talk about de Tocqueville and how whenever he tours the United States in the late 1800s, says, hey, one of the things that makes democracy work is the fact that there's a middle class. And then, like I said, until January 6, 2021, 2 years ago, we had always had peaceful transitions of power. But for the very first time, there was an attack on our Capitol to stop the election and the process of transition of power in over 220 years. Congratulations, you live in interesting times. Now you know the first. Now you know the what? First. So my question for you is, what is democracy? Unfortunately, my phone everywhere is being weird. So I'm just going to ask you, when you think of democracy, what's a word or a phrase that comes to mind? What is democracy? To my left? There we go.
Democracy is when everyone in the country or the state or wherever it is being governed, they all hold equal amounts of power and the ability to govern their own district or their own, state or wherever it's at.
Okay, equality, self-governance. Okay.
For the people.
For the people. Okay. The government is for the people. What else? Come on, you guys. That's something from the left and the right. Oh, right behind you here. I saw your hand.
Okay, protection.
Protection. Okay. You guys? Democracy. Here we go.
A collective.
A collective. Okay. Anyone? We're going to read some works on democracy. We're gonna start with the Declaration of Independence and letter from Birmingham Jail, and those you're to read by Monday, okay? And I want you to look at these two works. They're short, right? They're both very short, don't forget, okay? But they're ideals, right? This is what democracy ought to be. And we're going to talk about that at first, these ideas, the ideals of democracy. And then we're going to talk about the Constitution. And we're going to talk about the mechanics of making that work. And that's the hard part, okay? That's the part where, when we're talking about governance, we can say, hey, look, everybody has an equal say. Okay, how do you make that happen? Right? That's the question. How do you make that work? And so a lot of what we do is we're thinking about these ideals of democracy and democratization and representation. And then we're trying to create laws and a framework for that to actually work so that we can govern ourselves. Last semester, I taught the capstone in political science. Okay, so these are political science majors, so they obviously like this stuff, right? In my capstone class, my 20 seniors said, well, the problem is we all need to know enough that we just take care of each other, so there's no need for governance, right? I mean, that's the ideal, right? James Madison, who we're going to read right away, talks about this mechanics, and he says, good luck. People are self-interested. And so you have to figure out how to corral that. Because it also means that they're ambitious, which means that they do amazing things. When we think about this class, those 244 of you who are only here because you have to, I want you to think about that aspect. And that is that with your ambition and your self-interest, you can get everything out of this class that you need to make your life a better place to be, make the world a better place to be, for your family, for your community. As long as you use that self-interest and ambition to do that. One of the things I want to remind you guys of, and this is kind of, I used to have a slide up here, those facts and values, right? And facts, things that are provable or disprovable versus values, the way we feel about things. Didn't quite get to what I wanted. So I want to talk to you instead about experience as opposed to understanding. My experiences are very different from your experiences, or your experiences, or your experiences, or your experiences, or your experiences. And guess what? Your experiences are all different from one another's, right? If we only use our own experience to see the world, then we put blinders on ourselves. Part of the purpose behind these labs and discussions that we're going to have is for you to hear other people's experience, to read the readings that we have, and to make that into understanding, using logic, critical thinking, and therefore coming up with something greater than anything that you're capable of experiencing by yourself, because we can't. Later on in this class, I'm going to tell you, whenever you're talking about policy problems or policy issues, I'm going to tell you, hey, look, You can only solve the problems you see. You can only solve the problems you see, which means that unless you open your eyes to the problems other people see, then your viewpoint is very narrow. You can only solve the problems that you see. So I'm going to introduce you now to your lab fellows, the people that will be with you every Friday, 50 for each one. And they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves. We're going to start out with Dennis. Dennis? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yes, so my name is Dennis, being Dr. Rowlet. This is the 4th semester now. And my lab section is number 3.3 and 3.4. And I'm looking forward to meeting and interacting with you in the class. I'm from Kenya and I'm a PhD student, my 2nd year. And that's all for now.
Okay, so Dennis is teaching sections 33 and 34, those labs. Okay, or leading.
Student yes.
Okay, Jared?
Jared's the other lab, the other class.
Oh,
We missed Maness.
oh, Manes, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I did that. I apologize.
So again, hi everyone, my name is Manes Samuel. I am from Malawi, and this is my 2nd year as a PhD student. I will be teaching sections 36 and 38 on practice, so I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you.
Thank you, Manes. Oh, I forgot to do class for Dennis. Dennis. Yes. Renata.
Hi, everyone. My name is Renada. I am a first-year master's in public admin student, and this is my 2nd semester as a TA, and I absolutely loved it last semester, and I can't wait to continue that this semester. I am in the section 31 and 39, I believe.
And I'm Adam. I'm also a master's student but in political science, and this is my 2nd semester as a TA. I think I'm TAing 32 and 40, but I'm not quite sure.
All right, thank you, Adam.
I'm lab section 35 and 37. I have to say it up correctly. Yeah. My name is Eric Tapia. This is my 8th semester with Dr. Rowlet.
Hi.
Yeah. Uh-oh. No.
He's heard this lecture 437 times.
Oh, that's a real number. No, so I'm a PhD candidate. This is my last semester at the University of Oklahoma. I'll be finishing with a doctorate in May. So it's a little bit about my academic world, but I also do a lot in politics, Oklahoma, community service, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Eric. Okay, so we have some important first day things to talk about, and I'm going to pull up Canvas in just a second. And I'm going to go through this. I'm going to show you how to find the syllabus, access your book and folder, how to sign in for attendance and polls, going to lab. Again, I want to emphasize that on Fridays. Last semester, I had someone come to me at the beginning of December and say, hey, so I didn't think lab was all that important, so I just didn't go. And I said, that's 10% of your grade. You should have gone to that. And they said, yeah. So I'm going to say to you, should you go to your lab on Friday? Is it worth 10% of your grade? Yes. Okay. So using the workbook, those are all on Canvas. I'll show you writing the papers. We're going to get into that more, not so much today. Preparing for the test. Again, we'll get into that more later on. How we grade, and we use rubrics so things are consistent. Okay, you can see them up there with the assignments, and then accommodations and other help. And so to do this, I'm going to go through the syllabus. If you guys want a paper copy of the syllabus, you can have one. If you want to print off one for yourself, it's in beautiful color. You can do that. And so, sorry, I was in the wrong class. But if you start, and Eric, let's start with the textbook.
Oh, no, start with the dashboard.
What?
This is the dashboard.
Yes, there's the dashboard. That was your class. It has a flag on it. It's easy to find, right? what's the last one? 30 spring. Should still have a flag up there. Yeah. Still has a flag. I'll get rid of my spring soon. All right. So if you look at Cengage, actually don't click on Cengage, just click on modules. And if you go to start here, that should be there, but it's not. So go to assignments. Underneath there will be a way to go in, but go to assignments for right now, because for some reason it's not. And here, the Cengage text and homework quizzes link. If you click on it, then I'll drop that into, but you can go click on it, Eric, if you want to. This is the way that you access your textbook. It's online. It's paid for as part of your tuition in this class. Okay. And so if you access it and go there, then you're going to see the book and the assignments that are due. Theoretically. There it is. Okay. That's what it looks like. This is the book itself. There are different ways to hear the book. You can do a tour so you know what you're doing. But over here, Eric, will you go over to where just the book is? You can go to the book like that. You can go to chapter 1. Well, I'm just saying you have different ways. You can listen to it on your app, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Do the letter to students, it's fine.
Letter to students. Dear student, our book begins with a simple question.
Can you imagine you're working out to that?
Letter to students.
Okay. So you can change the voice too, and so there are different voices. I prefer the Australian kind of a fast clip that works best for me. So whatever, you know, as I'm running, listening to the book, right? That. But here, if you look on the left too, there are quizzes. There's chapter 1, it opens up, and we have chapter 1, a couple of little short quizzes. They're not worth very much. You can notice 3 points, 2 points, 2 points, and then a chapter 1 quiz, which is over the whole chapter worth 25 points. Your first one is due before class on Monday. Okay, all of these are due before class on Monday, and so therefore you should know where those are. Okay, whenever you click on that link, it's going to take you to Cengage and it's going to ask you to register. Okay, but it is part of your class, just the registration. Yes.
What is the extension on my end, or I don't have that assignment on my Canvas?
It's not showing up on Canvas.
Yes.
Okay, that's because it won't show up on Canvas. It shows up in Cengage.
No, like we also don't, I don't think it's in here, so there is like the assignment that you clicked on.
On
is not
assignments?
there. Yeah. It's not there.
There's no like Cengage tab. That's troublesome. I will fix that. It was strange that it wasn't in, it's supposed to be in the start here and it wasn't there, but it should be still there. So if you look at your assignments, it's not there.
All I have is upcoming assignments and updated.
Say it again.
All I have is upcoming assignments and updated assignments. Don't have any of those. You have it there.
You can see it now?
We see it in undated.
Oh, yeah, it's an undated assignments.
Oh, weird.
So scroll to the bottom.
There. If we click on that, it says unpublished. Yeah, we don't have access to it.
Unpublished module is not available yet. Okay, it's because it's not in a module. There you go. Solved. Okay, it will be solved. You have to get out of student view though. Eric is going to solve that question while we speak. Once you are registered there, if you'll download the app on your phone, okay, then that's how we'll do some poll questions and attendance in this class. And we will not do that today, but we'll start on Monday. Okay, so once you're registered, download the app. You'll register with your OU email address and the password that you give there. So just gonna still not under modules. Okay, try it now under modules. Got it? All right, let's try one more time. Good, I'm glad we worked through this. It is loading. Excellent. All right. So this is your textbook for the class. A couple of other things. Eric, will you go back to module? Oh, you don't have to do practice. If they have an orange dot, that means it's assigned. Okay? The orange dot means it's assigned. Okay, but if we go here, if we look at week 1, this is us. So Declaration of Independence, you're going to read Letter of Birmingham Jail. If you feel like reading the Condensed Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, you certainly may, right? But that's not required. It's just for your education. But if you look at workbook chapter 1, page 1, workbook chapter 1, page 2, that's what's due in your lab on Friday. Where's the question? Oh, what app? I'm sorry, what app? It's a Cengage app. So once you are registered with the book, you can download the Cengage app. Okay. And there's two. There's like Cengage Read, and then there's Cengage with the blue, and it has a dot. So I think you can do either one. Okay. The Read is apparently a better reading experience. Okay, so workbook chapter 1, page 1 is right there. And if you look at it, it looks like this. It asks questions like, hey, look, this is me talking a lot. Now, when you think about what you want from government, what comes to mind? I want you to tell me what you want from government, not what I want. I know what I want, right? If you look at page 2, that's the second page. So there are 2 pages. You think the United States is full democracy? What makes you think that? What makes you think it's undemocratic? What do you think of the 10 most democratic nations, right? And so these are these are not right questions or wrong questions, right? These are what you think. But then when you go to your lab on Friday, there will be some discussion certainly of that list, okay? All right, so that's this week, right? And so even though I have Letter from Birmingham Jail and Declaration of Independence up there, it's really for the reading for Monday. I just had it up there a little early for you. Yes.
Print off the workbook.
You have a couple of options, and Eric can show you under assignments that there is workbook. If you scroll down under assignments, there are workbooks, and you can just drop them in there like that. And it's up to your fellow. Your fellow might be like, look, I really desperately want a paper copy of this, in which case you'll have to deal with that. But I think the majority of them would like them there. Okay. And so you can drop them in there. It's fine. Take a picture. You can, if you can buy the workbook if you want to, but you don't have to. Okay. I put up there what you need. Okay. So if you buy the online one and you do it that way, you can do that. You can write out that, however you want to do it. Okay. All right. So that is it for the upcoming week. Yes? Can we go to some really quickly? Okay. And the dates that things are due should be correct. We probably need to put up things for Cengage, but your Cengage app will tell you when things are due. The most important thing is this. Chapter 1 is due before class on Monday. Chapter 2 is due before class the next Monday. Okay, it's always due before class, so that when you come in, we can talk about it. So one of the things that I note here is that democracy is fragile. If you do not think it's fragile, then you have not been paying attention. Okay, and we lose it. You can lose it. It doesn't just stick around. So it's up to you to be informed citizens, to participate, to vote, to have your voice heard. And part of that means understanding how to do it, right? Because if you don't understand how to do it, I mean, you can think all you want. It's not going to be put into action. That's part of what I want you guys to learn in this class. We have a promise that we can shape our collective destiny, but only if we act. This is me up here. We're obviously here. On Friday, your labs, your enrollment, you guys are filling out some things to kind of get an idea there. That's me. That's my office. That's the phone number for the main political science office. I don't have a phone in my office, but that's my email too. My office hours are Monday and Wednesday, 1:30 to 2:30. I'm always going to be there available for you from 1:30 to 2:30 on Mondays, Wednesdays. That said, on Tuesdays, I don't teach until 4:30, and I'm basically going to be in my office on Tuesdays. I'll have other people coming in and out because I have other classes, but I will be there. All right, and I will be there on Thursdays and sometimes on Fridays. I'll show up at your lab sometimes on Fridays. But if you need to see me and that time doesn't work for you, you should send me an email. Say, I'd like to see you. Can I see you on Tuesday at 10? And I'll say, I guess. So I'll say, of course, I would love to see you. All right. And I just made that kind of sound there. I want it to be very clear. Come to office hours. That's the whole point, right? Come to office hours. Otherwise, I'll just sit there and grade papers. I would rather you were there, really. But okay. So your teaching fellows who I've told you about, right? Oh, here, sorry. The book, the online text you get to through Canvas. So my question is, do you go to the Cengage website to access your book? No. How do you get to your book? Through Canvas. How do you get to your book? Through Canvas. How do you get to your book? There we go. Through Canvas, yes. And so that's how you get there, because you can go to Cengage and try to do a book or pay for it and do all sorts of weird things. And then you'll do a lot of assignments and you'll say, I don't understand why my grades aren't showing up in Canvas. And I'll say, because you paid for a book with this class. If you go through Canvas, you will go to that book where I designed the homework for this class. Okay. All right, so the teaching fellows, they are in the Civic Engagement Resource Center. Is at 222 Dale Hall Tower. I'm in Dale Hall Tower too. They're just out the hall from me. This is them who you know all about, or who introduced themselves. Eric would like to point out. Thank you, Eric. All right, so the Rowlet Workbook, like I said, you can buy it if you want to. There's a link on the next page. You do not have to. All of the first 6 chapters are the 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The 5 chapters are up there. Those are the only ones you have to do. If you do not turn it in, then there are 2 options to turn in ones later. Okay, if you miss one, there's chapter 10, chapter 13. You can maybe turn in later to get those points back. Okay, but they are worth 5% of your grade altogether. It's not nothing. Okay. And then the third thing is this. So you get to your book through Canvas. You've already paid for it. You do not have to buy the workbook. I have the pages up there on Canvas. But the third is you have to choose one of these 3 books. This is for your civil rights paper. Okay. One of them is Gann, Killers of the Flower Moon. Have any of you read that? Usually I have a couple. 1, 2, right there. There's my couple. 3. Look at that. Killers of the Flower Moon. So that is one option. You can choose that book. It is about the Osage murders in Oklahoma and the cover-up. Okay. Number 2, your choice is Caste by Isabel Wilkerson, The Origin of Our Discontents, which is about structural racism and the caste system in the United States, India, and also Nazi Germany, and comparison of those 3. Okay. My book club, but we loved it and were unable to finish it. So there's that. Be ahead of my book club. You can do it. All right. And then the third option is Down Girl by Kate Mann, which is the logic of misogyny, talks quite a bit about the worldwide structure of domination of women by men. So you can read any of those 3 books. You have to read all 3 of those books. How many of those books do you have to read? 1. Okay. Are you going to write a book report on this book? Trick question. No, you're not going to. You're not going to write a book report, but you're going to use that as a reference for your civil rights paper that you're going to write that's due really pretty soon, like in 4 weeks. Okay? So get that book soon. One of those 3 books, get it soon. Okay? Should you get one of these 3 books soon? Yes. Okay. Yes? Yes? Okay. All right. And so you can borrow it. You can, I'm sure it's in multiple, they're all in multiple libraries. You can borrow it, you can share it, you can steal it from your mother's bookshelf, whatever, it's fine. Okay, so again, these are your fellows. There are their office hours, and they will also meet by appointment. Okay. And then here's the grading scale, right? Your accommodation policies, please look through that. And here we have, just little bios on your fellows if you'd like to know more about them. This is our schedule coming up. Again, these are the things before you're in class on Monday you have to do. You have to go to a lab on Friday and do what? Turn in workbook chapter 1, that is correct. And before class on Monday, you need to register for Cengage, right? Through Canvas, do the chapter 1 quizzes, okay? And also download the app. 3 things. Because we'll do a rough attendance on Monday, sorry. I don't know what I said. All right, and then we're going to talk about the founding principles. We're going to talk about the Constitution. President Harris is going to show up, the Cherokee. Chief Hoskins is probably going to show up at some point. And if not, my brother-in-law, who's a Cherokee council member, will instead. So we'll see. That's where we are. Oh, Eric, you just scroll all the way down the bottom. I also have some safety information back here. So, you need to know how many of you are not from Oklahoma. Okay, so in case of severe weather, there is some things that can help, all right? Because it's springtime. We like to call that tornado season, all right? Okay, so I think, Eric, am I missing anything? Okay, make sure you put your TA's name on your paper.
And turn it in.
Turn it in at the end. I'm gonna let you go a little bit early, and so that